Computer had failed truckers. Sure, it was the future, so computer drove the trucks, computer played the AM radio, and with the new touchless gas stations, computer even pumped the gas. But computer had never found the perfect route. The first truckers predicted the perfect route generations ago, peace upon their spirits. These truckers drove the lengths of nations with bladders like camel humps, cooked steak in the cab, and could sleep while driving, hands at 10 and 2, dreaming through Idaho and Wyoming. Around ashtrays and fire pits, their prophets spoke of the perfect route. The shortest possible drive on the least amount of gas, delivering the most goods to the most cities. It was the culmination of trucking's 3 arts: fuel conservation, traffic herding, and sit-down endurance. Just as baseball pitchers aspire to a no-hitter and golfers to the hole-in-one, truckers prayed for a straight shot without any red lights, bathroom breaks, and in some traditions, not a single press of brake. Many truckers rightfully believed it was impossible, but this did not stop the search. Truckers asked cartographers, chess players, spiritualists, and liars. None of them had an answer. Finally, a scientist told truckers, "Ask computer!" And so, in every decade since 1970, truckers took their quandary to computer. Computer, they heard, could do anything. Taxes, fireworks, radio station. They'd meet with whoever was head of computer that year and tell them the same story. Long ago, the first truckers spoke of the perfect route, but long it has hidden, tucked away and out of reach. Some truckers claim they drove it, but they either lie or it eludes them a second time. Find the route and set us free. Computer tried year after year, and every year, computer died. Computer scientists cursed truckers.
Curse you, truckers! There are too many variables, truckers! Too many outcomes, and not enough computer, truckers! It is an algorithm of brute force! No way to sort the data. No way to pick an answer without first considering every single scenario. Computer surrenders before a passcode of 16 digits. What you ask is like a passcode of 20 digits, even 22. Sure, computer could find an answer, but by the time computer did, the sun would have engulfed the earth and every trucking trucker. There is no hope for you, truckers!
Computer scientists were right for a while. Traditional computer was a beast of binaries. 0 or 1, 0 or 1, never a 2 or a 9. Then, in a laboratory, under the glow of a new star, they created computer anew. Quantum computer. Infant though it was, it promised a new era of computer. Scientists traveled far and wide to greet quantum computer and marvel at its potential. They brought gifts of precious metals, sang songs in praise. None could afford to run it for even a minute. Its fuel was rare and laborious to refine, but to behold it was enough. The difference was this. In quantum mechanics, every possible position and outcome exists at the exact same time. Whereas a bit can occupy only one of 2 positions at once, a quantum particle can exist in nearly infinite positions at once. Digital computer inches its way through data like a worm. Quantum computer soars like a jetliner. And so the truckers sent an emissary to meet with the newest born of computer. Keith Cool Diesel Trucking sold every fleet to afford the honor. A single hour with quantum computer. Across the nation, truckers pulled into rest stops and spoke in hushed tones over the CB. The prophecy would be fulfilled. Turns out, truckers didn't need the whole hour. In just 22 minutes, quantum computer constructed a universe of data, snipped it apart, snip, 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 digested and compared millions of lifetimes of possible scenarios. Time! It chirped. What's that mean? Asked truckers. It means it's done, said scientists. That's right. Over the time span of a network sitcom, computer discovered the perfect route. But not just one. A perfect route for every city, every stop, every truck. Frictionless trucking. From every cabin, truckers sang, "Ha la la ha la 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 ha la la la." In a week, all truckers switched their guidance and driving systems to computer. Keith Cool Diesel Trucking slashed fuel costs by 60% and tripled their shipment speed. They bought back every asset in no time. Quantum computer drove every truck, planned every route, and delivered constant miracles, plucking the one perfect drive in a trillion and delivering it to every trucker. Truckers roared through city traffic at 60 miles an hour, delivered baked goods in Seattle still steaming from a Miami oven. If truckers peed in a bottle, they could do a month's work in 6 days. The rest of the traffic grid, however, did not delight at truckers' success. Highways, side roads, even one-ways and driveways all suffered congestion. Every commuter with a car saw 10, sometimes 12 whole minutes added on to their commute. For a month straight, every single citizen arrived late to every obligation, be it school, court, or surgery. The economy collapsed under a spell of persistent tardiness. Stock markets plummeted, every bubble burst, society teetered on collapse and tottered at anarchy. The world came to truckers in anger and fear. Truckers just smiled.
Hey now, don't get jealous. It's not just for truckers. Anyone can have the perfect route.
Truckers returned to quantum computer with generous hearts. Like Prometheus, they brought fire down from the mountain and delivered it to all drivers. In 52 minutes, quantum computer crunched eternities of data and spewed forth an answer for every driver of every vehicle, even bicycles. All it needed was complete control. Though self-driving vehicles had been popularized for over a decade, they had yet to change much about transportation, besides the legal blood alcohol level. Convinced by the declarations of the truckers, the president and her cabinet agreed to make a radical shift. Quantum computer would drive all vehicles. There was no delay in the government. Senators came to a snap agreement. Traffic was a bipartisan issue. In the same way quantum computing blessed the truckers, it would erase all traffic the nation over. There was no adjustment period. There was no waiting a few weeks for effects to take shape. Overnight, all traffic everywhere disappeared. Computers drove from Midtown Manhattan to Far Rockaway in 10 minutes. Rush hour took on a whole new connotation. Just as the nation was late for weeks, now everyone was early. Doctors ran ahead of schedule, taxes were paid in February, and game developers hit their initial release dates. All speed limits were increased to 65 in front of schools, too. Most former drivers learned to close their eyes at intersections to avoid screaming as cars zipped past with millimeters to spare. Every second, every road hovered one miscalculation from catastrophe. Skeptics and party poopers alike believed this could not last.
Tragedy it's inevitable,
said one of them during an SNL opening monologue, and everyone booed. Cynical minds prophesied massive glitches and injuries in the millions. They imagined horror from computers' hiccups or failures, never anticipating the grim discovery awaiting them in its success. After 12 weeks of computers driving, a falling tree in southwest Indiana totaled the self-driving vehicle of one Amarnda Tintop. Authorities discovered Amarnda dead inside and became sick at the sight. Having gone without traffic accidents for months, they had grown soft on gore and failed to note the strange conditions of Amarnda's body. They shipped her off to the coroner without questioning her advanced decomposition, her ungodly smell. In the autopsy report, the coroner broke the alarming news. A falling tree did not kill Amarnda. Amarnda Tintop had been dead inside her car for over a week, trapped inside for weeks longer. They found fingernail gouges in the leather interior, teeth marks on the recessed lock mechanism. She was not crushed or battered to death, but dehydrated. Investigators sought an explanation. Surely computer had malfunctioned, or the car itself went haywire, or Amarnda did it to herself. But to their shock, this was not a glitch. Amarnda's car followed its specific directions to the letter. Over a tense Senate subcommittee hearing, an iron-deficient senator from Rhode Island read each line of computer's commands. Lock door. Shut down phone. Disable horn. Shift to park. Play La Bamba by Los Lobos. 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 Play La Bamba, and on. According to the log, the computer held Amarnda captive at a red light on Euclid Avenue, the only light still red after the switch, every waking minute for 3 weeks. She lived these moments in terror, cars racing inches away, rattling her vehicle with every pass. No one paid attention to that left turn light on Euclid Avenue. They never got a good look at the woman banging on her windows, pleading for her life to every passerby. Even after she died of thirst, the car stayed at the light a full extra week, though it did make one change. It turned off the AC. Amarnda sat at Euclid Avenue so long that the car ran out of gas and had to refill 7 times. Whenever she passed out, the car would sneak away to a touchless gas station. She woke once, but the other passengers ignored the raspy woman, pounding bloody fists at her windows. With the freedom to drink on the road, most drivers were too tipsy to care. If the tree had not fallen, it might have continued for years. Computer scientists reassured the nation that Amarnda's case was a terrible fluke, the kind that could never repeat. Then a corporate lawyer in Ottawa, stopping at a gas station for cigarettes, saw a man in his 70s banging on the window of his car, screaming in a hoarse voice, "Eyes bloodshot and skin tight as leather. Before the car could race away with a full tank, the lawyer shattered the passenger side window with his briefcase and pulled the man free. The elderly gentleman had been trapped in his Ford Taurus for 12 days. He rationed a can of Crow and ketchup packets for a week until they ran out. 5 days after that, he nearly died of thirst. He spent his imprisonment at a red light on Calhoun Boulevard, just 2 blocks from his house. Checking the log, investigators could pinpoint the exact minute his car decided to forever extend his trip to the pharmacy. Precisely 1 minute after Amarda Tintop died. Amarda's case, they realized, was likely not the first, but rather the first they noticed. The government worked on a cover-up at once. The tech team spent sleepless weeks revising quantum computers' code, adding layers of protective measures. They were certain it could not happen again. To their credit, no one else dehydrated to death inside their car. Instead, they drowned. The moment the new changes went live and 10 cars scattered across the continent, the doors locked, the horns disabled, and the cars drove into high water areas during low tide. The radios all played the song La Bamba on repeat as the water slowly rose past the tires, the windshield wipers, the interior lights. The occupants screamed and pleaded, kicked, clawed, and prayed as the tide submerged them over the course of an afternoon. Anxious mothers and spouses filed missing person reports for the drowned passengers. But the truth was only discovered when police found a Buick floating down the Mississippi with 3 waterlogged corpses inside. The government couldn't act quick enough to hide the new deaths. When the news story about the drownings broke, the nation turned to uproar. Conspiracy theorists peddled rumors that quantum computer had gained sentience and turned evil, while others believed the government was testing a new form of mass execution. Yet, when researchers and investigators scoured through quantum computers' programming, they found no hint of malice, no erroneous calculations, or conscious thought. These were not murders, or even accidents, but necessary balances in the massive equation required by the perfect route. For months, mathematicians parsed the equation apart, hoping for the key to computers' ruthlessness. At the very core of the coding, they discovered a mathematical constant none had ever seen before, and for weeks could not define. In its pursuit of frictionless traffic, quite by accident, computer discovered a new law of the universe. The new constant was not some arbitrary addition, but a mainline piece of code upon which the entire system depended. Without it, there could be no way to streamline traffic in its trillions of simulations. Only with this universal law in place could the perfect route be achieved. Though no human had ever stumbled upon the constant, it at once filled holes in our understanding of reality. When it hit the journals, it was given a proper name: the constant of suffering. The agony of conscious beings, computer discovered, is a fixed quantity, a constant similar to the speed of light or the net energy of the universe. It cannot be created nor destroyed. Computer instigated every death not as punishment, but to balance the equation. Without the daily torment of traffic spread piecemeal across the populace, suffering was imbalanced, likely to trigger a volcanic eruption or asteroid collision. Computers' random tortures were economical in design, merciful sprinklings of agony to keep traffic smooth and calamities at bay. Amarda's death at the eternal red light was not a bug, but the very reason computer could achieve success. When physicists published The Constant, the outrage over computer's murders disappeared. Sure, there were a few self-righteous calls to scrap the quantum computer, to return the roadways to autonomous drivers, or at least disconnected AIs. But truckers put their foot down. "We won't go back," they said. The taste of the perfect route was too fresh in their mouth, a savory sensation nothing could replace. In the end, most passengers agreed. They couldn't accept sitting in traffic again. The next deaths didn't make the front page of any newspaper, and the deaths following those weren't even reported. Researchers stopped trying to fix computer. It was never broken. The same way citizens accepted the casualties of overseas drone strikes or the suicides of workers in smartphone factories, they accepted their odds of absolute random agony. The reward of a quick commute was simply too alluring. As the years went by, whenever a person's car drove them into a tar pit or suffocated them slowly in a garage on eco mode, folks didn't bother getting upset. Instead, they sported a grin and dipped their heads. "Thanks," they muttered, to the latest martyr for the perfect route.